Welcome, everyone. Today's discussion dives into a turning point in the Russia-Ukraine war, one that has the world holding its breath. Russia, under President Vladimir Putin, has just made a bold declaration: victory in Ukraine by 2025. It's a statement filled with confidence, military dominance, and undeniable implications for the future of Europe and global stability. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, former US President Donald Trump is crafting a radically different approach. His proposal? Europe must take the lead on Ukraine. Trump's vision would shift the burden of responsibility onto NATO allies, testing their unity and ability to handle the conflict on their own. So where does that leave Ukraine? Can Putin's ambitious timeline withstand Ukraine's resilience? Will Trump's strategy empower Europe or fracture it under pressure? Join us as we unravel Russia's military plans, Trump's bold repositioning of power, and Ukraine's struggle to hold the line amidst these seismic shifts.
One Putin's declaration of victory, a blueprint to redefine Russian power. President Vladimir Putin's announcement that Russia will achieve total victory in Ukraine by 2025 is more than a military proclamation. It's a calculated political maneuver aimed at reinforcing Russia's global influence. In a speech delivered to top military officials on December 16th, Putin outlined Russia's growing dominance on the battlefield, boasting about the recapture of 4,500 kilometers of territory and the expulsion of Ukrainian forces from over 200 key areas. But perhaps the most significant revelation was the recruitment of 430,000 new voluntary soldiers this year alone, an impressive 43% increase compared to 2022. Putin presented 2023 as a turning point in Russia's military operations, framing the conflict not as aggression, but as an act of defense against Western provocations. He accused NATO and the US of forcing Russia to react, warning that Moscow has drawn a firm red line that cannot be crossed without consequences. Putin's rhetoric appeals to Russian nationalism while also sending a message to global partners like China and Iran, who quietly support Moscow's broader ambitions. However, behind the confident facade lies a harsh reality. While Russia's military has made undeniable gains, sustaining these offensives comes at an immense cost. Russia's defense budget now consumes 6.3% of its GDP, an unsustainable figure amid mounting economic sanctions and dwindling oil revenues. Analysts argue that Putin's declaration is as much about domestic morale as it is about strategic progress, designed to rally a war-weary public around a vision of Russian resurgence. The question is, can Putin deliver on this bold promise? Or will economic exhaustion and Ukrainian resistance bring this ambition to a grinding halt?
To Trump's strategic shift, America steps back, Europe steps up. While Russia accelerates its military campaign, Donald Trump is proposing a fundamentally different path for Ukraine, one that prioritizes U.S. interests while transferring responsibility to NATO allies. During recent meetings with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky and French President Emmanuel Macron, Trump made it clear: no U.S. troops will be sent to Ukraine. Instead, he suggested a European-led peacekeeping force to enforce any ceasefire agreement that may arise. Trump's approach also hinges on Kyiv delaying its aspirations to join NATO and potentially ceding territory to Russia as part of a negotiated settlement. Trump's strategy reflects his America First philosophy, challenging Europe to prove its ability to lead. In his words, Europe must take responsibility for its own backyard. America cannot carry this burden alone. But while Trump's plan may reduce American involvement, it raises a series of difficult questions. Are NATO allies, particularly France and Germany, prepared to step up militarily and financially? Will public opinion in Europe, already divided over support for Ukraine, tolerate increased defense spending and troop deployments? Furthermore, how will Russia interpret a European force on Ukrainian soil, as neutral peacekeepers or a provocation by NATO? French President Emmanuel Macron welcomed Trump's proposal as an opportunity for Europe to solidify its strategic autonomy. However, Germany remains cautious, worried about both domestic backlash and the risks of direct confrontation with Russia. Trump's strategy may offer the U.S. a way out, but it also exposes Europe to unprecedented challenges. If European leaders fail to act decisively, NATO's unity could crumble, emboldening Russia to push further west.
Ukraine's resilience, fighting for survival on all fronts. Caught between Russia's military escalation and Trump's vision for a European-led strategy, Ukraine finds itself at a perilous crossroads. President Vladimir Zelensky continues to project defiance, vowing that Ukraine will never surrender its sovereignty. However, the pressures are immense. Zelensky's government has signaled a willingness to explore negotiations with Russia, provided Kyiv receives concrete security guarantees from NATO and the European Union. On the ground, Ukraine's military remains reliant on US and NATO-supplied weapons to fend off Russian advances. Trump's proposal to scale back US commitments threatens to undermine Ukraine's military capabilities at a time when they need it most. Although European countries have increased aid, their limited arms production and political divisions could leave Ukraine vulnerable. Meanwhile, Russia's relentless attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure have forced Kyiv to prioritize energy independence through investments in nuclear power, a bold yet risky move in a war zone. Zelensky faces an uphill battle to maintain both military and political resilience. As one Ukrainian commander remarked, "Every day we fight, we prove Ukraine's will to survive. But without consistent support, survival becomes much harder."
4. Global consequences, a test for NATO and the balance of power. The competing strategies of Russia and Trump signal a profound shift in global geopolitics. Putin's ambition to secure victory by 2025 challenges NATO's resolve and the international order established since World War II. Meanwhile, Trump's proposal to transfer responsibility to Europe tests the alliance's unity, forcing NATO allies to decide whether they can and will fill the leadership vacuum left by the US. If Europe fails to meet this challenge, it risks emboldening Russia and undermining NATO's credibility. Conversely, a united European response could strengthen the alliance and reaffirm its role as a pillar of global stability. At the heart of these developments lies Ukraine, whose struggle for survival has become a symbol of democracy's resilience against authoritarian aggression. A geopolitical analyst from The Economist aptly summarized the stakes. This conflict is no longer just about Ukraine. It's about the future balance of power in a world that's becoming increasingly multipolar.
Russia's declaration of victory by 2025 and Trump's call for European leadership represent two vastly different approaches to the same conflict, one driven by military might, the other by strategic pragmatism. As Putin accelerates his campaign to solidify Russia's power, and Trump challenges Europe to step up, Ukraine stands at the center of a battle that will shape the global order for decades to come.
So what do you think? Can Russia achieve its ambitious goal of victory, or will Ukraine and its allies hold the line? Will Europe rise to Trump's challenge, or will divisions weaken its response? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates on this unfolding story. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.